Hi everyone, welcome to Enjoy English. I'm Steven.
I'm Anthony.
Today's date is September the 2nd. For the next 2 days, please look at pages 10 to 13 under features.
好，我们今天呢要看的是专题特写。我们今天讲的主题很特别哦，它是搞笑诺贝尔奖。原来科学也很好笑。我们来先看一下我们的标题 ：The Ig Nobel Prize Discover the Fun Side of Science。Fun side 就是那种有趣的这个部分。那在这边的话，我们来看一下很有趣的事情是，它是1991年的时候开始的第一届的搞笑诺贝尔奖。那今年的话呢，是第36次的第一届，它不是第36届，它是讲到第36个第一届诺贝尔奖。然后今天是9月2号，明天的话呢，就是9月3号，他们会在这个苏黎世。瑞士的苏黎世这个地方 Zurich 这个地方呢去举办，那是头一回是在这个美国之外的地方举办哦。
Oh, so this is coming out at the right time, right? And the subtitle is Strange Ideas, Real Science.
奇怪的点子，真正的科学到底有多奇怪？我们赶快来看一看。
The Ig Nobel Prize. Discover the fun side of science.The Ig Nobel Prize is a special award that celebrates unusual and funny scientific research. Unlike the famous Nobel Prize, this prize honors achievements that first make people laugh and then make them think. Each year in September, 10 prizes are given in different categories, such as literature, medicine, and peace.In fact, many former Nobel Prize winners enjoy attending the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony because it is so much fun. The ceremony is not formal or serious. Winners can give a 60-second speech. However, if they speak for too long, an 8-year-old girl called Miss Sweetie Poo will stand nearby and keep saying, "Please stop, I'm bored."Another playful tradition is throwing paper airplanes onto the stage, which shows how lively the ceremony is. Although the prize may seem like a joke, its purpose is meaningful. It encourages people to take an interest in science and think about ideas in creative ways. Many winning studies sound strange at first, but they often reveal useful facts or inspire further research.The 2026 Ig Nobel Prize ceremony will be held in Europe for the first time in history. As usual, the ceremony will be webcast. Don't miss the chance to join this fun and interesting celebration of
science.The Ig Nobel Prize is a special award that celebrates unusual and funny scientific research.
好，我们来看第一段的第一句话，这边有一个重要的字汇叫 award。award 就是指奖项的意思。你看到这边 ，the Ig Nobel Prize 就是搞笑诺贝尔奖 ，is a special award 是一个很特别的奖项 that celebrates unusual and funny scientific research。Scientific 这个字也很重要，就是科学的。后面我们还有机会提到什么 scientists， 好，就是科学家等等相关的一些字根。那这边的话就告诉你说，它是专门来表彰这种非比寻常而且趣味十足的这种科学研究。
And here the word celebrate, the noun is celebration. Usually it's like a party or a special event that you do to celebrate something.Because in Chinese, like we can't say 我们庆祝这件事情 right? But that's what it kind of means. So because I used to tell my students, 我们就庆祝这件事情 thinking in the English way. They're like, 为什么要庆祝？为什么庆祝？ But here it's not really saying like 庆祝一个东西，而是放大 or to,、what was the verb you used?
表彰
yeah.
表扬
Yeah, so that's what it means by celebrate. You're not really celebrating with a party, but you're kind of putting importance on this thing.
没错
Okay. Unlike the famous Nobel Prize, this prize honors achievements that first make people laugh and then make them think.
好，我们来看第二句话，告诉你说 ，Unlike the famous Nobel Prize， 它不像是著名的诺贝尔奖，它不一样的地方在哪里呢 ？This prize honors， 好，所以这个地方还用到 honors， 也是一样，是用来表彰，会用来去表扬，去让大家看见这样的感觉。Achievements that first make people laugh, then make them think， 是先让大家看到觉得很好笑的，然后细看一下觉得这还蛮有意思的，发人深省的这种科学研究哦。比方说，我举个例子好了，你可能会想到说，2022年的时候，他们研究的是为什么这个鸭子会是母鸭子，然后带着一群小鸭子，他们就是排成一整条线。你就觉得说不都这样吗？可是你去想，他就开始用这个什么流体力学啦，还有这种水的这种，可以帮助这些小鸭子可以比较轻松的跟着妈妈一起游。所以刚开始看到是觉得好好笑，好好玩哦。最后发现它背后居然有科学的动力，还有科学的这个理论存在。
Yes. And here, the very beginning of this sentence is unlike the famous Nobel Prize. Unlike just means like different from the famous Nobel Prize. And then so we know what comes after the comma is going to be something that's going to be opposite from the famous Nobel Prize. So that's just a good way to start a sentence to kind of be like, I'm telling you the difference between these two things. Also, the way that we pronounce Nobel Prize, I've also heard people say Nobel Prize. Yeah, so you might hear some people say it like that. And here, this sentence, this prize honors achievements. You could actually use celebrate in this sentence as well and interchange these two verbs. They both kind of mean the same things, just bringing emphasis and importance on what someone is doing. Okay, so this prize celebrates achievements that first A and then B. Okay, and that's kind of the grammar we want to remind you is first A, 先做一件事情, and then B, 然后跟着会做什么事情, right? And then make people laugh 是让人笑, but a lot of my students sometimes might kind of make and let get these two verbs mixed up. They might say, let people laugh. But if you say let, even though in Chinese it's 让, these two, make and let, as the verb 让是不一样的意思。
对。
Make is kind of like 使人觉得好，使人干嘛？使人笑。So I make you laugh, or Anthony 老师 makes me smile when he is nice to me. Okay, 他会让我觉得很开心，使得我很开心。But let is like 你允许他去做一件事情。所以你这样子去想会比较不容易把它 mix up， 因为我真的常常会有学生讲说he let me happy。
就变成是好像说好，你现在可以笑咯那种感觉，就那才是 let 的感觉。因为为什么 make 跟 let 会容易被搞混，是因为它刚好都是实义动词，然后被一起教的时候不小心可能就混淆在一起了。那刚好趁这个机会 Stephen 老师告诉我们说，怎么样去区分它？所以 let 就是给人家说好，你可以做这件事那样的感觉。
Yes. All right, let's take a short break. Each year in September, 10 prizes are given in different categories, such as literature, medicine, and peace.
好，我们来看第二段的第一句话，他就告诉你说了，每年呢到了9月的时候呢，我们就会出现这个搞笑诺贝尔奖嘛。10 prizes are given in different categories. Categories 的意思就是不同的类别、不同的种类。比方说，像是后面就介绍了 such as literature， 好，这个文学啦，好 medicine 医学啦 ，and peace 和平奖。好，这个和平奖的话，我可以举一个例子，是2025年，就是去年的时候，和平奖的得主是说，如果你喝酒的话呢，它会有助于提升你的外语能力。因为这样的话，你就不会说很害怕文法讲错，很焦虑。喝酒之后，在微醺的情况之下，你觉得外语就变得比较流畅了。这是和平奖它里面得奖的这个内容。
I find that true, though.
Yeah,
so there is truth to this funny science.
没错。
In fact, many former Nobel Prize winners enjoy attending the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony because it is so much fun.
好，所以告诉你说 in fact 事实上呢 many former Nobel Prize winners 好，过往一些那种得过诺贝尔奖的得主，诺贝尔奖是很正式的嘛，但是他们都很喜欢怎么样enjoy attending the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony， 他们都很喜欢参加这个搞笑诺贝尔奖。Why? Because it is so much fun. 因为太好玩了，所以他后面就会告诉你说，这个搞笑诺贝尔奖到底好玩在什么地方。
So this sentence started out with in fact. Okay, so that's just to emphasize or clarify what was already said before. Okay, so we're giving additional information about the Nobel Prize. So that's just something to pay attention to in terms of grammar. Okay, in fact, many former or previous Nobel Prize winners enjoy attending. 就是 when you say you want to 享受做一件事情, make sure it's enjoy, and then the verb comes after with an ing form. Okay? The ceremony is not formal or serious.
好，我们来看这边这句话 The ceremony is not formal or serious. Ceremony 就是我们说的典礼。然后呢，刚刚老师有提到一个字 previous 相对于我们刚刚讲的 former， 对不对？好，还有 previous 这个字，我帮大家拼一下，它的拼法是 previous。previous 就是之前的、先前的。好了，这句话说 The ceremony is not formal or serious， 好，不是那么的正式，也不会那么严肃啊，这是一个大家喜欢参与的点。
Okay, and not formal, another way you could say that is informal. Okay, informal, informal. But here, because we have two adjectives, not formal or not serious, that's why the author is choosing to say not formal instead of informal. Okay. Winners can give a 60-second speech. However, if they speak for too long, an 8-year-old girl called Miss Sweetie Poo will stand nearby and keep saying, "Please stop, I'm bored."
所以我们来看这个地方很好玩哦。他说 Winners can give a 60-second speech. 好，就是你如果得奖了，你上台的时候，你没有3分钟，你没有5分钟，你只有1分钟的时间可以表达感言。OK? However, if they speak for too long, 感谢的人太多，好，一直讲。An 8-year-old girl， 这边注意一下 ，8-year-old 那个 year 后面没有加 s， 因为它整个是一个形容词，用2个 hyphen 把它连起来变成一个形容词。有一个8岁的小女孩 called Miss Sweetie Poo， 她叫做甜普小姐，或者是有的时候它翻成甜便便小姐，这个便便就是大便的那个便便。那 will stand nearby and keep saying， 在旁边一直跟你讲说 ，Please stop。I'm bored， 好无聊哦，赶快停下来啦！然后就一直在旁边一直讲，让你不得不下台。
Feels like a dream almost. As, you know, like you're like a little random girl is just being like, "Please stop, I'm bored." And then Miss Sweetie Poo, this name in itself is quite silly. Yeah, but I do know sometimes in some cultures, I think in the South and in America, poo, even though like you said, it means 大便,
right?
But it can also be like an endearing name for like a little kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Sweetie Poo. I think that's where the name comes from. So I just never thought about that it's actually the same word as poop.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know where these pet names or these names for people come from, but yeah, I've heard of Sweetie Poo before.
Yeah, 所以说老师呢提到说，其实在美国南方有些地方呢 ，Sweetie Poo 这个字的话，不见得一定是想到的是大便，而是那个很多时候对小朋友可爱的那种昵称，它可以是 Sweetie Poo。所以在这边的话，我看到的这个地方，我看到的这个里面，它都是把它翻成一些比较搞笑的跟大便有关的东西。但是事实上，老师说，在这个美国南方的话，有些小朋友 Sweetie Poo 会变成他的小名，因为像是小乖乖啊那种感觉，听起来是 endearing， 这种听起来很好、很亲昵的那种称呼方式。
Yeah, I think it's something to pay attention to because, you know, every culture has like a different way to call like their children or little kids, like something like I think in Chinese there's like different ones like 小不点儿.
小不点儿.
Yeah, if you really translate that to English, it's like what? You know, it doesn't make sense, but sometimes these things don't make sense. It's just maybe somebody said it and then other people heard it. They're like, "Oh, that sounds really interesting." And then it became part of the culture.
That's right.
Another playful tradition is throwing paper airplanes onto the stage, which shows how lively the ceremony is.
没错，在这句话里面有一个重要的词汇叫 lively。如果你要提到一个地方很热闹感觉上是很开心的那种感觉 ，lively 这个字非常非常好哦。所以他这句话说 another playful tradition， 另外一个有趣的好玩的。Playful 这个字我也很喜欢。Is throwing paper airplanes， 好，开始丢纸飞机 onto the stage， 丢到这个舞台上面 ，which shows how lively the ceremony is。你可以感受，也可以展现出来这种颁奖典礼好热闹，大家玩得好开心。
I do hear a lot of my students or my friends, they'll be like, "Oh, 怎么讲热闹啊？怎么讲热闹？" And then sometimes people think you should say exciting. But that's not wrong, but exciting is more close to being like 令人觉得很兴奋。
对
Right? So it's very exciting. You could say that, but lively is definitely a better adjective to use when you're trying to say 热闹这个两个字。Oh, the night market is very lively on summer nights.
Yeah, 没错，比方说像是夜市，好，到了晚上，就是夏天的晚上，说哇，特别热闹，非常非常多人的感觉。
Yeah, so it's like full of energy, full of life, and full of enthusiasm. That's when something is lively. But throwing paper airplanes or anything onto the stage in any other event would be considered very insulting and disrespectful. So I think that's why this Ig Nobel Prize ceremony is so special because people can do this, but also understanding that the research that they're actually presenting is meaningful. It just sounds very silly too.
没错，所以说老师刚刚提到说，在很多其他的典礼里面，如果丢纸飞机或任何东西在这个舞台上面，本身就是一个非常不尊重的行为。可是，在搞笑的这种诺贝尔奖里头呢，他居然可以允许做这种禁忌的事情，然后让整个气氛变得很欢乐。所以说不定也是因为这样子，大家还非常非常喜欢这个搞笑诺贝尔奖，因为它可以做一些跟平常你没有办法做的事情。
Yeah, if you're all in the joke together, then it's fine. 如果大家都是在这个玩笑里面都是有了解彼此的这个状态 then it's okay.
没错，大家一起做就没事。
Okay, let's take a short break. Although the prize may seem like a joke, its purpose is meaningful.
好，我们来看第三段的第一句话，说 Although the prize may seem like a joke, may seem like， 你就知道说看起来像，那后面一定还有话要讲，对不对？好 ，its purpose 就是目的，它的目的呢 is meaningful， 可是有意义的哦，不是为了搞笑而搞笑，它的背后是有意义的，而且这个意义呢十分重大哦。
So the opposite of meaningful is meaningless. Okay. So just know there are a lot of times you can take a noun and then put an FUL to make it to mean full of this thing. And then you can sometimes take that same noun and put LESS at the end to mean that it doesn't have this thing. Okay. Like let's say helpful.
Yeah.
You are very helpful. You're full of help, which means that 你很有协助性的. Okay. But you also have the word helpless. I feel helpless. That means that you just feel 无助, like 没有救的感觉. So you often see this kind of adjective where it's a noun with an FUL or with an LESS. Okay. It encourages people to take an interest in science and think about ideas in creative ways.
好，你看下一句话告诉你说 It encourages people. 它为什么会是 meaningful 呢？它会第一个，它会先去鼓励大家 to take an interest in science， 开始对这个科学产生兴趣 ，and think about ideas in creative ways， 可以用一些比较有创意的方式去看待、去思考一些议题、思考一些事情。
Yeah. So encourage someone to do something. So that is one of the rules of grammar that we want to introduce to you. Introduce someone to do something. 就是鼓励一个人去做一件事情. And this sentence is to take an interest in something. That's another phrase that we kind of want to teach you guys. 你说是感兴趣去做一件事情. So take an interest in drawing. Okay, I am trying to take classes because I have recently taken an interest in art.
所以老师呢最近开始呢对画画感兴趣了，就开始上课了。你可以说用 take an interest in 后面可以接任何 drawing、science 都可以。那你也可以用 take 这个字，可以想到，比方说 take up a new hobby。take up a new hobby 就是开始去培养了一个新的习惯或是一个新的兴趣。Hobby 这个字 Hobby 指的是嗜好。If you take up a new hobby， 就跟人家说我突然以前都对这个画画不感兴趣的，突然开始想要开始画画，想要开始学画画，像老师这样。
I just think it's something that we have to mention because take, usually people think of it as a verb that means 拿。So like if you want to like directly translate, it's like 拿一个兴趣。So then I think that might be confusing for some people. Just know that if you say 感兴趣做一件事情, it's take an interest in this thing.
没错。
Okay? Many winning studies sound strange at first, but they often reveal useful facts or inspire further research.
好，所以他这边提到 many winning studies， 很多得奖的这些研究呢 ，sounds strange at first。你只要听到 at first， 起初听来怎样？起初 at first 后面一定有一个转折。比方说今天你说啊，我开始的时候不是很喜欢这个人，然后后面这个开始的时候，那后面一定会有话说，后来我们变得很好的朋友。这种情况下你就可以用 at first， 它一定带着一个转折。所以说。他这边提到说，这些得奖的研究呢，刚开始的时候听起来，好怪，好闹哦。但是怎么样 ？But they often reveal， 还会透露出、揭露出 useful facts， 很有用的一些事实 ，or inspire further research， 甚至会启发进一步的研究。
Yeah, so reveal is a verb, but it can also be a noun too. So it's being used as a verb in this sentence, but just to be aware that the noun form is spelled the same way. And we do have another word, adjective here with the FUL. So that's just calling back to earlier when we said meaningful. This is useful, okay? The 2026 Ig Nobel Prize ceremony will be held in Europe for the first time in history.
好，所以接下来这句话呢，就是我们在开场的时候特别提到的。他说 ，The 2026 Ig Nobel Prize ceremony 今年2026年的这个搞笑诺贝尔奖的颁奖典礼呢 ，will be held in Europe for the first time in history， 在历史上呢是头一回，我们不是在美国举办，而是在欧洲举办。那我刚刚跟各位讲的是在瑞士的这个 Zurich 苏黎世这个地方所举办的哦。
As usual, the ceremony will be webcast.As
usual 就是按照惯例，按照之前的这个一样的状况 ，the ceremony will be webcast， 就是在网络上会进行直播。就算你不到苏黎世那边，你也可以在网络上同步的去欣赏这个搞笑诺贝尔奖。
Don't miss the chance to join this fun and interesting celebration of science.
好，最后他就告诉你说，千万别错过。Don't miss the chance to join this fun， 去参加这场好玩 fun and interesting celebration of science， 就是好玩又有趣的科学盛会哦。如果说今天你提到这个 join this fun and interesting celebration， 这时候他就可以就是讲到加入这场这个盛会。有的时候你会听到 join in the fun， 用这种方式去表达说一起来玩吧这样的感觉。
All right, so tomorrow's lesson, we're going to continue talking about the Ig Nobel Prize. So we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.